Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very good afternoon, everyone. I hope you can hear my voice. Okay, so for today we're going to look into partial derivative. Maybe some of you haven't looked into the video yet. Don't worry, because I'm going to teach you while we look into the exercise as well, okay? Okay, so let's look into 3.1, functions of two or more variables, okay? So before we look into the partial derivative itself, okay, we have to understand what is the function of two or more variables, okay? All this while you look into the function of y equals to fx, means it has only one variable. This is what we call variables, okay? And this is a independent variable because the variable x does not depend on any value of others. However, the y is what we call dependent. Okay, sebab untuk y ni dia bergantung kepada nilai x. Y equals to fx. Contoh, if x equals to 0, katalah you ada y equals to 2x plus 2. If x equals to 0, then you can determine your value of y. However, the value of x ni kita tak perlu nak tunggu y tu apa. Okay, kita boleh tetapkan terus. Okay, we can determine directly. So this is what we call independent, and the y is dependent. This is one variable. Okay, all this while you understand about this one. Now we are going to look into the f, x, y. There are two variables in one function. Okay, fxy, or what we call z equals to fxy. So here now the x and y is both independent, while the function of z is dependent. Okay, bergantung kepada x dan y. Okay, so kalau sebelum ni kita bezakan dy dx, okay, kita terus dapat f prime x kan, directly f prime x. However, in this part, okay, when you want to differentiate respect to x, how about your y? Sebab sekarang ada x dan y kan, then this is what we call partial derivative, because we only integrate differentiate respect to x, y will be treated as constant. Okay, and then if you want to differentiate respect to y, ni differentiation lah ni, bentuk differentiation. Okay, so differentiation I can write in terms of dz dx, or I can write in terms of zx macam ni, okay, or I can write the z prime pun boleh. Okay, so this is in terms of writing only, semuanya sama saja. And then if I want to differentiate z respect to y, my x will be treated as constant. This is when you have two variables, okay? So the questions can be up to your level, will be three variables lah. Contoh W, dia ada f, x, y, z. So dia ada tiga variable kat sini kan? Okay? So sama juga. When you want to differentiate x, then two of the variables will be constant, which is y and z. When you want to differentiate respect to y, okay, yang ini kita akan tengok nanti. Apa maksud bila satu kita differentiate, the other will be constant. Okay. So let's see a question. If you have download the question, the exercise question from Kalam. Okay, let's see exercise 3.1. Okay, so this is the question, fxy equals to that function, and the question asks you to find f22. So it is easy, okay? So as you can see here, the 2 will be regarded as x, this 2 will be y. Okay, dia ikutlah susunan. it follows the pattern x, y, z. If there are three variables, then it will be x, y, and z. Okay. So means you just substitute the value of x2 and y2 into the equation. Ini tak ada masalah lah ni. So 4 darab 2, 8, tolak 2. 4 tambah 14, 18. F negatif 1, 3 should be so then put 74.23. Sorry, so this is 12, so this is 16. 2 times 4, which is 8 minus 8 will be 0. Okay, so actually you just substitute the value. Okay, I think there will be no questions in here because it is easy. So if the question asks you to find function, just substitute. Okay, domain. Saya dapat banyak soalan tentang domain ni, even for the first variable. Okay, actually the easiest way to find domain, because domain is a region, is the domain of x. Okay, let's say you have x, y. This is your x, this is your y. So this is your domain. And then this will be your range. The range is the answer for the domain. Okay, and then the domain is where your function can be defined. Okay, the set of value of x where your function can be defined. So this function 1 over 3 x plus y cannot be defined if your 3x plus y equals to 0, right? So your domain must be 3x plus y cannot be 0. Okay, so yang kalau function rational function macam ni, ini sajalah dia punya domain. Memang dia satu rational function, the denominator cannot be 0. Okay, so you can write domain f is equals to, okay, now your domain is xy, right? Xy, dia mesti ada dua lah sebab it is a two variable now. So 3x plus y cannot be equals to 0. Sampai sini pun boleh. Okay. Okay, 4 minus 1. Now the domain is polynomial. Kalau polynomial, salah. Apa salah? Saya salah salin aja kerja saya ni. Sekejap saya salah salin ni. B fxy okay, betul 45x tambah eksponen 1 tolak x tambah y square root. Okay. So you have to look into each term. The first one, 4 over 5x. The domain for x here can be any number, negative infinity to infinity, because it is only polynomial. However, we have exponent there. So those exponent also can be taken any value kan. Kalau exponent negatif ada, exponent 0 ada, exponent positif pun ada. So to look into domain, okay, you tengok macam ni aja. Negative part, the 0 part, and the positive part. Okay, so if you have exponent function, you tekanlah calculator, tekan saja calculator apa nilai, exponent negative 1. Then the exponent will be defined on negative, 0 and positive. However, now your exponent is not only exponent biasa kan, the power of the exponent is square root. Then the square root cannot be defined on the negative. Okay, it can be defined on 0, it can be defined on positive only. Okay, so bila dua ini saja, so it is greater than or equals to 0. Okay, whatever terms here, whatever terms in your square root, can only be defined if it is greater than or equals to 0. So your domain here must be 1 minus x plus y greater than or equals to 0. Faham Kalau eksponen tu dia boleh ambil semua. Tapi sebab eksponen tu dia ada kuasa square root. So we have to look into that square root pula. So your domain here again is xy in which your 1 minus x plus y greater than or equals to 0. Ataupun dalam soalan tu dia dah permudahkan lah, dia akan jadi y minus x greater than or equals to negative 1. Okay, negative 1 ni dia bawa ke sana, dapatlah this one Okay, either one, sama saja. C. Okay, this domain I look into every question because I have so many, I get so many questions about this. Actually, you tengok yang ini saja. Kalau you boleh tengok ni, dia tak ada masalah dah. Okay, now our function is ln. You tekan calculator, okay, ada tak ln negatif? Tekan saja ln negatif satu apa. And then you keluar make error kan. So maksudnya, it cannot be defined on negative, the ln. Okay, and then 0 also make error. So cannot be defined on 0. And then if you tekan ln any positive number, yes, you have. So if this one means it is whatever ln here, okay, it can be only greater than 0, not equals to. Kalau equals to dia ambil kat sini pun dia ada tanda, tapi sekarang dia tak define, okay. So whatever the terms here, your terms is x plus 2y, it must be greater than 0 only. Okay, itu saja dia punya function ni, dia punya domain ni, tak susah. As long as you understand how it works, okay. Okay, D. Lastly, again the square root. Square root must be greater than or equals to 0 kan. So 9 tolak y kuasa 2 mestilah lebih besar sama dengan kosong. Okay, tapi sekarang dia y kuasa 2. Kita nak y sahaja kan, in terms of x and y to the power of 1. Okay, so kalau y, kalau saya bawa sana, saya mestilah ada 9 lebih besar atau sama dengan y kuasa 2. Okay. Atau y kuasa 2 lebih kecil atau sama dengan 9. So bila saya nak buka y kuasa 2, dia mesti ada positif, negatif kan. Okay, the negative will be sebelah kiri, the positive will be to your right. Okay, then the y will be here. So square root 9 will be equals to 3. So this will negative 3 and this will be 3. So this will be your answer. Okay, for y. Dia tak boleh buka y kuasa 2. Y kuasa 2 lebih kecil 9 and then you buka y lebih kecil sama tambah tolak 3. Okay. So katalah you ambil satu tu y, maknanya y lebih kecil 3, satu tu y lebih kecil negatif 3. Okay, this one yang salahnya. Kenapa salah? Katalah saya ambil lebih kecil negatif 3 kan. Katalah saya ambil y sama negatif 4. Negatif 4 tu lebih kecil negatif 3. So I substitute this value into this equation. I will get 9 minus negative 4 square root, which is 9 minus 16, which is will be negative number. So undefined. So actually bila you buka kurungan tu, dia mesti buat macam ni. Bukan macam ni. Faham So bila you buat macam ni, y is greater than equals to 3. So bila you ambil y equals to yang lebih besar daripada 3, katalah negatif 2. Okay, so you masukkan, you dapat 9 tolak negatif 2 kuasa 2, which is 9 minus 4, which is positif kan. So it's defined. Faham Kenapa you tak pilih dia ada the other way around. So actually bila you buka ini pun, buka what we call inequalities, this is inequalities. Okay, the negative dia akan bertukar sign. Okay, from greater than it will be less than. What's and vice versa. It will be the domain, the question number 2. Now let's go into question number 3. But question number 3 ni dia sama macam chapter 1, the quadratic and surfaces kan. Okay, so you just have to sketch. Remember, your fxy now is z because z is fxy. Okay, so z equals to negative 2. So you know how to sketch Z equals to negative 2 kan. Okay, maknanya dia kat sini saja. So how about X, how about Y? Y will be arbitrary. So it is again what you have learned in chapter 1 So maksudnya you ambil selari X, you ambil selari Y. So this will be your plan, which is the plan is on your Z-axis. Okay. I think the rest tu tak ada masalah lah. B, C, D and E. Okay, D tu is a half. Why is it half? Because you have a square root kan. Okay, if you still remember, the square in surface mean half of surface. So the original surface is what? Z squared plus X squared plus Y squared equals to 9. Means it is a sphere. So this one will be hemisphere. Okay, which half? The Z positive. Okay. Okay, so dia ni separuh Z positif ke atas. Jari dia 3. Kenapa 3? Sebab 9 kat sini kan. Okay. The Z should be negative 2 here lah. So it's selari X, selari Y. Macam ni Okay, thank you. Jangan ada yang ambil Z sama dengan 2 pula ni tau. Okay, let's move into 3.2, partial derivative. So partial derivative 3.2 ni yang paling crucial in this topic Sebab nama dia pun, nama chapter ni sendiri pun adalah partial derivative. By the end of this section, you should be able to find the partial derivative and find the higher order partial derivative of the function f. So partial derivative ni actually dia sama macam differentiation biasa. Sama saja macam differentiation biasa. It is similar to the derivative, okay, of one variables. However, the difference is only when you want to differentiate one variable, because you have now multi variables, right? When you want to differentiate one variable, the other will be treated as constant, as I mentioned before lah. Okay, so that is partial derivative. For question number 1. Okay, question number 1 kan tanya what is partial derivative. Okay, so partial derivative for question 1 is a differentiating a function of several variables. Okay, bezakan function dengan beberapa variable with respect to one of its variable while keeping the other variables fixed or constant. Okay, now let's move to question number 2. Find all first partial derivative of each function. Okay, so now bila dia kata find all first partial derivative means dia ada 2 variable saja, so kita nak cari fx and fy. Okay, when we want to find fx, then our y is constant. Okay, so beza yang ni kuasa dulu kan, so 6 x tolak 4y, 6 tolak 1 dapatlah 5, and then kita darab, kita beza kat dalam ni terhadap x. Okay, now when we differentiate this x, we will get 1. And when we differentiate this y, we will get 0. Why 0? Because the y is constant. Macam mana you differentiate constant? Katalah you ada constant 5. Okay, you differentiate d over dx, you will get 0 kan? Sebab 5 ni constant, dia tak ada x pun kat situ. Okay, so any constant, when you want to differentiate with respect to x, any constant a will be 0. Okay, so itu maksud dia. Now your answer will be, ni darab lah, 6 darab 1 semua, so 6, 4 tolak, x tolak 4, y kuasa 5. Okay. So it's different when you want to differentiate with respect to y. When you want to differentiate with respect to y, then your x is now constant. But before you differentiate x, you have to differentiate the power kan. Dia ada kuasa 6 ke atas tu. So differentiate power dia akan turun. X tolak 4y and then 6 tolak 1 sama dengan 5. Then darab differentiate kat dalam ni terhadap y sekarang ni. So bila you want to differentiate with respect to y, the x is constant. So x now will be 0, the y now will be 4. Faham Sebab kita nak differentiate d dy negatif 4y, so dapatlah negatif 4. So kita darab. Negatif 4 ni adalah constant, 6 ni pun adalah constant. So negatif 6 darab 4 will be negative 24. X minus 4y to the power of 5. Okay. So basically that's it for partial derivative. Yang penting you treat the other as a constant. So macam mana you bezakan constant tu, macam tu lah you akan bezakan variable tu. Okay. Boleh 2A? Okay, contohlah saya nak tunjukkan dua B ni pun sama macam 2A. Saya rasa tak masalah. 2C, the rest you can try it yourself. Okay, kita tengok 2C. So 2C ni dia jadi quotient rule. Okay, now we want to differentiate with respect to x. Again, our y is constant. So atas ni constant, y kat atas ni constant, y kat bawah ni pun constant. Tapi x kita ada kat atas, ada kat bawah juga kan. So bila ada kat atas, ada kat bawah, so kita kena guna quotient rule because it becomes numerator and denominator, and dia ada numerator and denominator. Okay, so how do you solve for quotient rule? It's v u prime minus u v prime over v squared. Sebab tu nanti dalam jawapan awak tu awak ada square-square tu kan? Okay, because you use this quotient rule. Okay, let's say our v is, of course, x plus 3y and our u is 2x minus y. Now when you want to differentiate the v, you have to differentiate with respect to x only. Okay, sebab apa? Sebab kita nak guna fx kat sini sekarang So vx will be 1, ux will be 2. Okay, bezakan v terhadap x dapat 1, bezakan u terhadap x dapat 2. The 3y is constant will become 0, the negative y is constant will become 0 as well. Okay, then you substitute the u, the v, u, vx and ux into the formula. Okay, so simplify again. Okay, so this is your answer for fx. So for fy pun sama Now for fy, you ambil v, v awak still sama, x plus 3y, u awak pun still sama, which is 2x minus y, but now you differentiate with respect to y, which will be 3 and this one will be negative 1. Okay, So we'll get the answer as this is. So for partial derivative, you still, there are still the rules, all the rules, there are still product rules, quotient rules, chain rule as usual, okay? So the use of the rules will be as this one lah. Okay, when you want to differentiate respect to x, make your y as constant. When you want to differentiate respect to y, your x is now constant. Sekarang ni kita ada dua variable saja. Kalau so, tapi konsep dia sama saja. If you have more than two variables also, the concept will be still the same. Okay, whatever variables that you don't want to differentiate, treat them as constant. Tadi saya proceed pada 2D 2D ni pun nampak macam susah. Actually it is easy, however you have to orang kata your skills of differentiation tu kena polish kalau you rasa it is hard for you. Okay, the question number D 2D. So you want to find fx and fy. Okay, so if fx, then your y is constant. So all the three, okay, all the 3 exponent y squared is constant. So it will still be there, but be attached kan? Okay, we only want to differentiate the sign to x. Now differentiate sign will get cos 2x, differentiate 2x because it is with respect to x, so differentiate 2x will be 2. So semua ni boleh darab sekali ya. So the answer will be 6. So 3 dengan 2 ni boleh darab. Exponent y to the power of 2 cos 2x. Okay. Then some of you may questions, kenapa y kat sini dia tak kosong? Dia tak 0. Because tadi kita kata kalau treat as constant, constant will be 0. Okay, now katalah saya ada d over dx 5 dengan d over dx 5x. Okay, this is constant. This is constant. If I want to differentiate d over dx 5, it will be 0. If I want to differentiate d over dx 5x, it will be 5. Now, let's change this into y. Okay, so d over dxy will be 0. However, d over dxyx, if your y is attached to the variable that you want to differentiate, okay, now that we want to differentiate respect to x, right? So they are y. We treat as constant, but it is multiplication of y and x. So there's still y there. Sama juga macam ni. This whole thing is constant. However, this constant is attached to the sign to x. So dia masih juga ada. Tapi yang ini tak. Okay, yang semua yang kita tengok sebelum ni, dia attached. Dia tak attached, dia berdiri sendiri. It's only that variables. There are no x. Okay, ni pun sama only that variable, no x. Atas ni pun sama. Okay, it is only that variable. Kalau y, y saja. Kalau x, x saja. Dia tak ada attach. Okay, so faham maksud dia? Kalau dia attach with the variable that you want to differentiate, then the constant variable will still be there. Okay, so if you macam confused, keliru, you buat cara macam ni. So if fy, then my x is constant. So since this function is a multiplication of x and y kan, so the constant x tu kita tulis siap-siap. Maknanya 3 sin 2x tu dia masih juga ada kat situ sebab dia constant. Constant yang didarabkan bersama y, not only a standalone constant. Okay, it is attached constant. So you want to differentiate y means you want to differentiate the exponent y to the power of 2. So differentiate exponent dapat exponent juga. Okay, differentiate exponent dapat exponent juga. Kemudian you darabkan, you differentiate atas ni. You differentiate power dia. Dapatlah 2y. Okay, dapatlah 2y. So this one, everything you boleh darab. 6y exponent y to the power of 2 sin 2x. So this is your answer. Okay, so differentiation is easy actually if you know the technique. Okay, contoh macam ni tadi. you ada exponent y to the power of 2. Okay, first of all, you kena differentiate daripada luar ke dalam, from outside to inside. Now the outside is exponent. How you differentiate exponent? Exponent paling senang. You differentiate exponent, you akan dapat balik benda yang sama. Okay, maksudnya exponent x dapat exponent x lah. Exponent x tambah 2 dapat exponent x tambah 2 lah. Okay, dia tak ada beza. So exponent y to the power of 2 dapatlah exponent y to the power of 2. Now you want to multiply with the differentiation of y to the power of 2. Darabkan, bezakan y kuasa 2 ni pula. Beza y kuasa 2 dapatlah 2y. So this is your answer. Okay. Katalah saya buat lagi Exponent y tambah ln y kuasa 2. Exponent y tambah ln y kuasa 2. Okay, so there are exponent there, there are polynomial to the power of 2 there, there are ln there. Okay, semua ada kat situ. So macam mana kita nak bezakan ni? Sama juga teknik dia daripada luar ke dalam. This is actually chain rule. Okay, chain rule. So the first you differentiate the exponent, dia akan dapat exponent lah juga. Okay, and then you bezakan, you differentiate yang ni pula. Differentiate ini dia ada kuasa 2 kan. So differentiate kuasa, if you differentiate polynomial power, kuasa dia akan turun ke depan. Yang dalam tu masih juga sama. And then kuasa dia akan tolak kan, means 2 minus 1. And then you darab, you bezakan yang dalam ni pula. Dalam ni pula. Terhadap y lah sekarang ni sebab semua y kan. So beza dalam ni dapatlah 1 tambah, beza ln y dapatlah 1 per y. Ada lagi tak boleh beza dalam ni? Tak ada dah kan? So this is your answer. Your answer is a multiplication of this whole thing. Mana yang boleh darab, you darab. So maksudnya kalau you nak tulis cantik, dia akan jadi 2, 1 tambah 1 per y, y tambah ln y kuasa 1 lah kan. And then exponent y tambah ln y kuasa 2. That's your answer. Okay. So actually kalau differentiation tu panjang pun tak ada masalah. Because this is actually the concept of chain rule. Okay, so this is a square root. Square root is actually what? Square root is actually to the power of half kan? So kita buat dulu macam tu sebab kita tahu bila nak beza power ni kita tahu. Power turun bawah and then the power will be minus 1. Okay. So fx, y will be constant. So before we differentiate the 3x to the power of 3 plus 2y squared, we differentiate the power first, which is 1 over 2. Okay, yang dalam ni semua masih ada. It will be still the same. Okay, do not differentiate it yet. Okay, because we are going to differentiate the power only, which is 1 over 2 minus 1 will be negative 1 over 2. Then multiply, you differentiate the 3x to the power of 3 plus 2y to the power of 2. Okay, with respect to x only. Okay, so again, kalau nak differentiate with respect to x, so 3x kuasa 3 saja kita bezakan kan. 9x kuasa 2. 2y kuasa 2 will be 0. Why? Because it's only y. The y not attached with x. So it will be strictly become 0. Okay. So you tulislah jawapan cantik sikit. 9 per 2 x kuasa 2. 3x kuasa 3 tambah 2y kuasa 2. 1 per punca kuasa. 1 per punca kuasa. Oh, 9x kuasa 2 per 2. 3x kuasa 3 tambah 2y kuasa 2. Cantik like this lah. Okay. Or sampai sini pun boleh. Tak masalah. So again, differentiate the power first. It will be 3x to the power of 3 plus 2y to the power of 2. Okay, now multiply, differentiate respect to y. So the 3x to the power of 3 will be 0. And then 2y to the power of 2 will be 4y. Okay, 4 dengan 2 ni boleh potong kan. So 2. So dapatlah 2y per 3x kuasa 3 tambah 2y kuasa 2 punca kuasa. Dia ke bawah sebab dia negatif tu kan. Okay, 1 over. Negative will be 1 over square root. Okay, question number 3 pun sama juga. Cuma it is in terms of words. Okay. Find the slope. Okay, so partial derivative, the differentiation itself lah, bukan partial derivative saja. Derivative means slope. Okay, so bila partial derivative, if I have, let's say z equals to fxy, then I want to differentiate dz over dx. This is what I call slope of z in the x direction. Okay, sebab dia ada dua direction now, x and y. Okay, it has two variables, x and y. So if del z del y, it will be y direction pula. Okay, so when the question asks you to find slope of z in the x direction, means the question asks you to find del z del x. It's not d, it's del z del x, sorry. Del z del x. Okay, what's the difference between d and del? Okay, d ni is for full derivative, del ni is for partial. Because it has another variable. Okay. Kan kita ada 2x tambah 8y. So 1/2, 2x plus 2 tambah 8y. Negatif 1/2, bezakan kat dalam tak ada x, dapatlah 4x, 8y jadi kosong. So it will be 2x over 2x squared plus 8y square root. Okay, now the question gives you a point, right? Okay, so del z del x at the point of 2, 1 means your x is 2, your y is 1. 2 times 2 over 2 times 2 squared plus 8, 1, which is 4. 8 tambah 8, 16, so 44 something kan? 1. Okay, so you can find del z del y pula So kita akan move pada question number 4 is a higher derivative now. Okay, make sure you have to understand the first derivative before you proceed to the higher derivative. So higher derivative now you have fxx, fyy, fxy and fyx. Okay. Okay, katalah saya try yang fxy ni Sebab fxx saya rasa tu masalah tu. Okay, so when the question write in terms of this one, you have to find this derivative first. Means with respect to x, then you find with respect to y. Okay, so you have to follow the order. If fxy mean x first, then y. So kita carilah fx kita adalah, so bila bezakan terhadap x, 4y kuasa 2 ni constant, beza x dapatlah 1. This one, 3y is constant kan, so kosong, tolak. This one will be 4x. Okay, so tulis cantik sikit, kita dapat 4y kuasa 2 tolak 4x. Now, this is our fx. Fxy, you mesti ambil daripada atas ni. Jangan ambil the original question. Okay, because means we want to differentiate fx with respect to y now. Okay, so the x will be constant. So 4y kuasa 2 will be 8y. For x will be 0. Okay, so tak masalah lah tu So the answer will be 8y. Okay, tetapi penulisan dia berbeza if I write in terms of this one. D kuasa 2f. Okay. Okay, for this one, kita akan selesaikan yang belakang ni dahulu. Yang depan ni this is the second. So it is vice versa from the above writing okay. Because this one is actually del over del x, del f over del y. So this is the first that you want to differentiate. And then after we find this answer, then kita kena differentiatekan sekali lagi terhadap x. Okay, tapi kalau yang ni, yang kurungan dia dekat depan, yang ini kurungan dia dekat belakang. Okay, so you have to know the order. Okay, soalan nombor 5. I think question number 5 is only the exponent, the function. Okay. So if the function is a continuous function, then your fxy must be equals to fyx. Okay. So let's say I want to find, tadi kita cari fxy, kita cari lah fyx pula sekarang So means I want to differentiate with respect to y first and then x. Okay, so fy will be okay, kenapa x yang kat sini? Sebab x tu yang constant kan. Okay, which differentiate respect to, katalah tadi, d over dy xy. Okay, so y ni jadi 1 tapi x ni dia jadi constant, which is still there, x. Okay, so now we want to differentiate respect to x. This one will be product rule. Okay, kenapa dia product rule? Okay, saya bawa keluar So you have x squared exponent xy. There's x here, which is polynomial, and then there's x here, which is the exponent, part of the exponent. Okay, so dia ada dua beza. So when you want to differentiate this one respect to x, you have to use product rule. So product rule, katalah ini u, ini v, so dia akan jadi u v prime plus v u prime. Okay, so this whole answer will be here. Permudahkanlah. So this will be your answer. Faham Saya bawa ke sini, bawa ke sana ni, saya harap awak faham lah. Okay, if you follow my teachings, okay, from above to below and then I bring above back, so I hope you can understand. Because yang ini saya bawa keluar product rule ni. Okay, this is part of the product rule, saya bawa keluar, and then ini jawapan dia ni kita attach balik lah kat sini. Okay, the product rule answer. And then you find for fxy, okay, the answer will be the same Sama lah juga soalan nombor 6 tu Soalan nombor 6 tu, now we have 3 variables. Okay, so when we have 3 variables, then two of them will be constant. Dia ada 2 sekarang constant, bukan 1 saja. Okay, katalah saya cari del squared w del x squared, which is del over del x, del w over del x juga. So this is first. Kita cari del w over del x. Okay, so when we want to differentiate respect to x, now we have two constants. Y and z will be constants. Okay, before you differentiate the x, there are cos kan, dia ada function cos kat luar tu. So kita kena bezakan cos dulu. Beza cos dapat negative sign. So negative sign x, y, z. Okay, then you multiply, differentiate the x, y, z tu. Okay, now you want to differentiate respect to x. The y and z is constant. So y, z tu adalah, which differentiate x will be 1. Okay. Again, you want to differentiate respect to x, the y to the power of 3 and z to the power of 4 is constant. So x tak ada kat situ kan? So bila bezakan constant, akan dapat kosong. Minus, sama juga, exponent yz. There are no x, okay, no x, so the whole thing will be constant. So constant will be 0. So what's left is negative yz sine x yz. Okay, so we want to differentiate this one again with respect to x again. So del squared w del x squared will be, okay, the negative yz is constant, so attach sekali, tulis siap-siap. Now the sign, okay, the x is here, the x is only here. However, the x, before you want to differentiate the x, they are sign kan. So kena bezakan sign dahulu. Beza sin akan dapat cos. So cos x y z, okay, and then multiply, you differentiate the x y z with respect to x again, y z only, because the x is the y z is constant, the x is the variable that you want to differentiate. Differentiate x to the power of 1 will be 1, okay. So this is your answer lah. So yang ini boleh darab ke depan. Okay. So remember yang ini apa-apa saja dia mesti darab ke depan. It cannot be multiply with this. Saya merahkan. It cannot be multiply with this. No. Okay, because this argument is fixed. Whatever in this argument, it will be that argument until the end. Okay, dia tak akan berubah unless you do the operation, the trigonometry operation only, which is the identity operations only. Other than that, yang tambah, tolak, darab, bahagi semua dia tak akan berubah. Okay, dia mesti jadi macam itu juga, itu argument dia. Okay, yang student selalu silap kat sini dia darabkan kepada argument the cos x, y, z. So dia jadi x, y kuasa 2, z kuasa 2. Saya tengok je memang that will be wrong lah. Okay. Okay, question number 7 and 8. So basically this very much the same. So lagi kita buat soalan nombor 8 So this is partial derivatives in terms of application. The first one tadi kita dah tengok in terms of application is slope. Okay. Slope of del z del x mean the slope of z in the x direction. Okay, so the second one is rate of change, the rate of change. Okay, rate of change of one variable with respect to another variables, while the other we keep as constant. Okay, let's say number 8. The volume V of certain gas is related to its temperature P and its pressure P by the gas law PV of equals to KT, where K is a constant of proportionality. Suppose that V is measured in cubic inches, P in pounds per square inch, and T in degrees Kelvin, and that for certain gas, the constant of proportionality is K equals to 2 in pound over Kelvin. Find the instantaneous rate of change of pressure. Rate of change of pressure, P kan tadi pressure, with respect to temperature. So dia nak dP, so this is del, supposed to be del P, temperature dia tadi with respect to temperature, temperature T besar. Okay. If the temperature, okay, kita nak, dia suruh cari find ni, if T equals to 80 Kelvin and V fixed at 40 inch cube. Find the rate of change of volume. Kalau B pula dia suruh cari del V volume respect to pressure, the P, if the volume 40 cubic inch and the temperature remains fixed as 80 Kelvin. Okay, so PV equals to 2T. So P equals to 2T over V. If I want to find del P over del T, so the 2 over V is constant kan? So bezakan T ni dapatlah 1. So del P over del T when V is equals to 40 means 2 over 40, which is 1 over 20. So this is the answer. And then B, sama juga kita akan ambil yang ni. Oh tak, sebab V kita akan tukar. Now will be V equals to 2T over P. And then the question asks you to find the del V del P. So del V del P will be the P is to the power of 1, negative 1, 2T, P now negative 2, which is negative 2T over P to the power of 2. So given T equals to 80K, this is V equals to 40. Temperature betul kan? Temperature 80, volume 40. And then the volume 40, temperature 80. Okay. V equals to 40. Okay, how to find the P squared? Ambil daripada sini lah. If volume is equals to 40, P equals to 2T over V, which is 280 over 40. 4 to the power of 2 will be negative 160 over 16, which is negative 10. So this is the answer. 4. You may try question number 7 yourself. Okay. Okay, we have finished with 3.2, the partial derivative. Okay, so let's continue with 3.3. 3.3 is the chain rule. Question number 1, find dz dt for each of the following by using chain rule. Okay, so now actually chain rule ni, if you know about the tree diagram, okay, it is easy for you dah lah. Yang penting dia tree diagram, okay. Okay, you have Z. The first one you have Z, and then dalam Z you ada X, you ada Y. And then in X you have T variables. Y also you have T variables. Okay, when constructing the tree diagram, you only write down the variable, not the function. Okay, bukannya tulis X kuasa 2Y atau negative T kuasa 2 atau 2T kuasa 3, tak perlu. Okay, what you want to write is the variable only. Okay, so this is your tree diagram for this question 1A. Okay, so when the question asks you to find dz dt, you ambil lah diagram itu daripada Z hingga T. Starting from Z until T. So, connectkan together. So, ZT kat sini ada, ZT pun kat sini ada. Okay, habis kan? Okay, so maksud yang ini adalah bezakan Z terhadap Y. So, ini del terhadap Y. Yang ini bezakan Y terhadap T. Okay, sebab ini atas bawah, bezakan atas terhadap bawah. So, bezakan X terhadap T. Bezakan atas terhadap bawah, bezakan X, Z terhadap X. Okay. Okay, so the same branch tu you darab. Tapi the different branch yang X dan Y ni you tambah. Okay, so bila you dah tahu yang ni, soalan bagi berapa banyak variables pun you boleh tackle dah. Okay, means you have del Z del X, okay, multiply with dx dt plus del Z del Y multiply with dy dt. So you want to find this differentiation, each of this differentiation to get your dz dt. Okay, so maksudnya bezakan Z terhadap X. So again, when you want to differentiate X, your Y is constant. So you treat lah balik the partial derivative, how you do the partial derivative, that's how you do your del Z del X and del Z del Y. Okay, so X here will be 2xy. Okay, Y tu tidak kosong Y tidak kosong sebab Y ni dia attach sekali dengan X, variable yang awak nak bezakan tu. Okay. And then the X differential respect to T, negative 2T plus now Z respect to Y. So X squared pun tak jadi kosong sebab X squared tu dia darab sekali dengan Y. So bezakan Y tu dapatlah 1 kan. So dapat X kuasa 2 sajalah. And then Y respect to T will be 60 to the power of 2. So you akan dapat. Okay, you cuma boleh darabkan the ni negative 4 XYT plus 6x squared T squared. Okay. So how do you get the 14 T to the power of 6? Maksudnya X dengan Y ni kita gantikan variable T juga. Tadi apa T kita? Okay. Negative 4, X is negative T to the power of 2, Y is 2 to the power of 3, then T. Okay, so actually dalam in your apa answer, you can leave it until here. Tak perlu nak ganti pun tak apa. Okay, cuma saya nak bagi tahu how the question, how the answer should become 14T to the power of 6 kan. So actually dia gantikan all the X and Y into T variables. Okay, so yang ini you try lah, you try dapatlah 14 T kuasa 6 Sama juga dengan 1B. Okay, so again, you ada Z, dalam Z you ada XY, and then in your X there's T, in your Y there's also T. Okay, so when the question asks you to find dz dt, you ambil lah atas ke bawah, the same branch, you darab. Okay, the different branch you tambah, different branches. Okay, so you nak darab apa? Darab pembezaan atas terhadap pembezaan bawah. Okay, the del Z over del Y. Okay, and then this Y over T. This is X over T. And then this is Z over X. Okay. Okay, you write down this chain rule. Okay, you write down this chain rule and only yang ini pun you dah dapat markah 1 actually. So jangan tinggalkan this one. This one. You can get already 1 mark. Okay, so del Z del X means you want to differentiate respect to X. However, before you differentiate X, dia ada ln kat situ. Dan sebelum you differentiate ln, dia ada kuasa 2 pula kat situ kan. Okay, so 2 ln. Okay, sorry. It should be ln first. Sebab dia bukan bracket. So beza ln dapatlah 1 per X tambah 3Y kuasa 2. Kuasa 2. The whole thing. Times with, bezakan 2 tu X tambah 3Y kuasa 2. 2 tolak 1 dapat kuasa 1. Darab lagi beza dalam terhadap X. Kita baru buat yang bawah depan ini saja. This whole thing is for X. X is 1 only plus 0, 0. Okay. And then dx dt is 1 over 2. T negative 1 over 2. Because this is actually T 1 over 2. Kan, to the power of 1 over 2. And then plus, now for Y. Okay, the same thing. Ln first. X plus 3y squared squared. Okay, and then the power. And then differentiate with respect to y, will get 6y. And then the dy dt. 1 over 4 minus 1 will be negative 3 over 4. Okay, yang ini dengan ni boleh potong. Ni dengan ni pun boleh potong. What's left is 2 over x plus 3y. Oh, this one and this one boleh potong. So, dapat ada 2. 1 per square root t. This one square root t. Plus 12y. Okay, this one ada 12. Potong dapat 3. So, 3y over x plus 3y times 50 to the power of 3 over 4. Okay. Buatlah lagi. You try how. Actually, this is the answer already. Okay. You try. The question become 1 over. The answer become 1 over t only. Okay. So adalah mathematical expression yang you have to do. Okay. Before anything, you have to change x and y here. X and y here. Question number 2 pun sama juga. So, saya buat chain rule dia. You boleh try. And if you didn't get the answer, you may ask me later. So, W, under W there's X, Y, and Z. And then X there's T, Y there's T, and Z there's also T. And when the question asks you to find dw dt, so actually you have to find the W del X times dx dt. So ni 3 lah, ada 3 kali. Del X del Y times dy dt plus del W del Z times dz dt. Okay, so you may try this one for those who haven't. Question number 3. At what rate is the volume of a box changing if its length is 5 feet and decreasing at 4 feet per second? Its width is 3 feet and increasing at 3 feet per second. And its height is 2 feet and increasing at 1 feet per second. So question number 3 is the application. Soalan application. Sekarang ni volume of a box. Macam mana you kira volume of box kalau ada X, Y, Z dia punya ni kan? Contoh box awak. So X, Y dan Z. So dia actually hasil darab lah. The volume is X times Y times Z. Tak kisahlah ni sebab X, Y, Z ni depends on how you put it lah. Katalah length ni you nak buat X, Y ni you nak buat dia punya width and the Z is the height. Okay. Oh, atau lagi senang saya buat macam ni terus. It is actually the length times the width times the height. LWH. Okay, senang tak payah X, Y, Z tu. Okay, so means in V there are L, there are W, there are H. And in L, of course, there are T. W also T, H also T. Kenapa T? Sebab with respect to time kan, masa. Okay, so kita anggap T tu as masa So when you want to find the volume of what is the volume of changing? Okay, when you want to find the dv over dt, so actually you want to find the dv over dl dt plus okay, what is dl dt, dw dt, dh dt? So this is actually given in terms of variable, in terms of constant already, which is the length is 5, L is equals to 5, and decreasing, so dl dt is increasing, is negative 4. Okay, W is equals to 3 and dw dt is equals to increasing kan, 3. Kalau increase means plus, kalau decrease means negative lah. And then the hash is equals to 2 and the hash dt is equals to 1. So you use all these informations, okay, fill up in here. Okay, you may try this one. Suppose that the portion of a tree is right circular cylinder. If the height of the portion is increasing, so hash equals to 3 inches per year, and the diameter increasing 2 inches per year, dd diameter, how fast is the volume of the portion of the tree increasing when the height of portion is, okay, so the question asks you to find dv dt when hash equals to 40, d equals to 10. Okay, sekarang you kena cari volume untuk cylinder lah, which is V equals to pi r square h. Okay, so here dalam V dia ada R, dia ada H. Katalah R ni saya nak tukar kepada D. If I want to change the R into D, because the information is given in D kan, we know that D is equals to 2R. Okay. Or R equals to D over 2. So it becomes pi D over 2 squared hash. Ni hash kecil lah, ni hash kecil, besar pula. Okay. Which is pi over 4 D squared hash. Okay, so kalau ini D, T, actually you can change from here atau you ambil kat sini jadi per 2 pun boleh. So 2 bagi 2, so means dr dt will be equals to 1 pun boleh. So if your d is equals to 10, mean your r equals to 5 pun boleh. Okay, so either way lah, you can work towards that. So means your dv dt is actually del v del d times dg dt plus del v del hash times d hash dt. Okay, so how do you get this and this? This is from this equation. Okay, and then this dd and d hash is given. So everything can be worked out from that lah. Okay, you may try. Okay, the pressure P in kilopascal, volume V in liters, and temperature in kelvins of a mole of an ideal gas are related to by the equation P V equals to T. Ni macam sama macam tadi lah, equation of gas. Use chain rule to find the rate at which the pressure is changing. The pressure. So dP dt. So kita cari dP dt when the temperature is equals to 120 Kelvin and increasing. So dt is increasing at 0.2. And the volume is 40 and increasing at the rate of 0.15. Okay, so how do you find P? So again, from this equation, kalau kita nak jadikan P sebagai kita punya main, okay, so bawah tu kita ada T and V. Okay, and then in T you have T, in V you have T as well. So this equation bila ditukar dia akan jadi 8T per V. So kita nak jadikan P sebagai subjek kita. So if you want to find dP dt, so actually you have to find del P del T. T besar ni temperature, T kecil is masa, okay, times with dt dt plus del P del V times with dV dt. Okay. So how do you find del P del T del V del V? This is actually from here lah, from the equation. Okay. This dt dt, the one that again given. Okay, this one lah. So you may try from here. Okay, question number 6. Two straight roads intersect at the right angles. Lorry A moving on one of the roads approaches the intersection at 50 miles per hour, and lorry B moving on the other road approaches the intersection at 20 miles per hour. At what rate is the distance between the lorries changing when A is 3 miles from the intersection and B is 4 miles from the intersection? The two straight road intersect at right angles. Katalah ni road awak yang pertama, ini road awak yang kedua. So actually this you can denote as X and Y lah kan, sebab right angles is this one. Okay. Okay, lorry A, katalah lorry A tu datang dari sini, approaches one of the roads at the intersection of, so dx dt 50 miles per hour. Lorry B tu dia, of course dia datang daripada sebelah ni pula kan. Okay, so dy dt equals to 20 miles. Semuanya datang kepada intersection. This is the intersection. At what rate the distance between the two lorries changing when A is 3 miles from the intersection, so x equals to 3, and B is 4 miles from the intersection. So the question asks you to find distance. Kalau distance tu kita denote dd over dt. So macam mana distance punya formula? D equals to x squared plus y squared. So jadi macam ni lah. Okay, because here is 0, 0 lah dia nak sampai kan. So D equals to x squared plus y squared square root. In D there are x and y. In y, x there are t, and y also there are t. So if you want to find d dt, so actually you have to find dx dt dx dx dt plus dt dy times dy dt. So this and this from here, distance formula, this x and y is given. Okay, so again you may try find the values del z del u and del z del v if, okay, now question number 7 and question number 8, they are two variables. Kalau tadi ada satu saja which is t only, okay, now kat bawah dia ada two variables u and v. Contoh kat 7 ni dia ada x, dia ada y. Ada lagi tak x, y saja. Tapi x dia pun ada dua. Dia ada u, dia ada v. Y dia pun dia ada u and v. Now if the question asks you to find del z del u, okay, so this is where yang saya ajar tadi applicable lah. You only take everything from z to u saja, abaikan yang v tu. Okay, so the same branch you darab, so dia ada del z del x times del x del u, sorry del u, okay, Different branch you tambah. So del Z, del Y, del Y, del U. So this is what you want to solve. So yang V tu apa? V tu abaikan saja. Memang soalan tak tanya. Okay. V tu you ambil when the question asks you to find V pula. Okay. So when you question wants you to find U, so your V is constant. So yeah, treat as constant. When the question asks you to find V, then your U now is a constant. Okay. So kalau V pula, maknanya kita akan ambil yang color merah ni. Del Z, del X, the difference is here only lah, del X, del V. Plus del Z, del Y, del Y, del V. Okay. So first of all, you have to master the tree diagram lah. Okay, because if you master the tree diagram, kita bagi up to whatever number of variables, okay, you can construct the equation of the chain rule, the chain rule equation. Sama juga untuk nombor 8. Last question. Use the chain rule to find the values of del Z, del R and del Z, del theta. If, okay, Z, bawah Z tu ada X and Y. Okay, remember you only write down the variable, not the function. Bukan X kuasa 2, bukan exponent X tambah Y. Tapi tulis variable saja. Variable dia sekarang adalah X dan Y. Now in X, you have R and theta. In Y also you have R and theta. So again, kalau you nak soalan nak R saja, so you ambil R saja. Then if the question wants you to find theta, you take from Z until theta. So you may try this one, Okay, last one, theta. So that's it for today. We have looked into up until 3.3. I hope you can understand everything from the partial fraction to the chain rule to the function of more than 2 variables.